Sugar man, won't you hurry? 'Cause I'm tired of these scenes. For a blue coin, won't you bring back all those colors to my dreams? Silver magic ships you carry, jumpers, Coke, sweet Mary Jane. Sugar man, met a false friend on a lonely, dusty road. Lost my heart when I found it. It had turned to dead black coal. Silver magic ships you carry, jumpers, Coke, sweet Mary Jane. Sugar man, you're the answer that makes my questions disappear. Sugar man, 'cause I'm weary of those double games I hear. Sugar man, sugar man, sugar man, sugar man, sugar man, sugar man, sugar man.
Right, I think we're ready to start now, so could you all please be seated? Then I'll do a proper welcome for the people on the internet. Right, well, welcome to the very first IRL at Golden Dawn in association with Orcon. I'm not going to muck about because we are already running a tiny bit late, but there's a few people I'd like to thank. I'd like to thank Matthew Crawley for having the idea and for everything he does with this bar, which is a special place. And don't say hipster, because it's not about hipsters. It's about people. It's about people, isn't it? And also Hugh Sunday, who last night, at 1:30 this morning, Hugh Sunday was up a ladder in the rain, taking down the BFM banner after The Other's Way. Who went to The Other's Way last night? That was awesome. It was extraordinary actually seeing 7 venues, every one of them packed for New Zealand music. The kind, it wasn't, we didn't have to bring in a big, a big fancy overseas band. There were a couple of thousand people packed into venues, really enjoying themselves last night. And also, I thought, a kind of the slightly older BFM crowd out, and I think the lesson of that is if you put bands on at 9 or 10 o'clock and make it attractive, people will come and see them. and it would be nice to see those kinds of people out all the time. The big thank you, of course, goes to Orcon, and particularly Quentin Bright, who right through a number of things I've done with public address has been there and been ready to support what we're doing. And I can only say thanks again. They're a cool company, and they're doing good things. Right, we're going to start now, and starting is my co-host, Esther McIntyre, who is the best thing on radio at 9 to noon at the moment. And I first did some work with Esther at Splore this year when I went in to be interviewed about the Splore Talk thing I was doing. And she was so excited by what I was describing to her that as soon as we got off air, I said, would you like to help? So she kind of stage managed that, and I thought, well, actually, she's got too much talent to be just stage managing and in the wings. So she is fully my co-host. She'll be doing half the interviews today and at future events. And I'm really excited about who she's talking to here. Maynard Larkin, aka Randa, who I think is one of the most interesting people in New Zealand popular culture. So they're going to talk for about 25 minutes. There will be time between parts of the show for you to get to the bar and buy food and drink. The full menu's available, and yeah, I can recommend the beer. It's very nice. So please welcome Esther McIntyre and Maynard Larkin. Also, there is a box with a question mark over there, and we do need your questions for the panel, otherwise we'll have nothing to talk about, and that would be a bit sad. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Russell, for that very kind introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for coming along to IRL today. I am very pleased to welcome our first guest for this afternoon, Maynard Larkin, aka Randa, aka Lars Randa, just recently. Maynard is a 22-year-old rapper from the North Shore of Auckland, Murray Bay specifically, and he released his first music in 2012 with one track online called the Ralph Wiggum Song. He then went on to release his debut EP, Lunchbox, and later that year opened for act Grimes, following on from that opening for Crystal Castles, and kind of, making a bit of a splash. Randa identifies as transgender, and I'm particularly interested in talking about that, although that is only one aspect of his character, of course. Maynard, welcome.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Is your mic working okay?
Yeah, I think it's good.
Great.
I think I was just leaning back a bit. I don't know.
Being cool.
Yeah.
So Maynard is actually an acronym of your previous name, Miranda.
Yeah.
And you grew up in Auckland, you went to Carmel College. Tell us a little bit about how you entered into making music as a young person.
Right. So yeah, I went to Carmel College, which is a Catholic girls' school on the shore. Not super conservative, or I think there are other schools that are a little bit more strict, and maybe Carmel was a little bit more progressive in that sense or something. But yeah, I was kind of into interesting, fun things. I was very obsessed with professional wrestling in my high school years, so that's kind of all I think about when I think back then. But I also did a lot of like freestyling, kind of, or I like to write rhymes, and yeah, that was kind of like an interest.
Yeah. Awesome. And your family is really amazingly supportive of your music. Tell me about your family life growing up.
Yeah, it was cool. So I've got an older sister, an older brother, and then my parents. And I don't know, I was always kind of like just going through phases of being obsessed with like weird random things. Like there was a BMX phase, so my parents drove me to the BMX track, even though I was like, Mom, Dad, can you please take me to the BMX track? And my parents were like, oh, but they still took me, which was really rad. My family's been very, very supportive of me. and, you know, in all elements of life, really.
I guess rap music traditionally is a male-dominated form of music, also, you know, a black music. How, when you first started releasing as a young white female from New Zealand,
Right.
I mean, how did that come about? Why rap, particularly?
I don't know. I think I've always just been drawn to it. It always, like, it just seemed like the most fun. You know, there's a certain rhythm and the way you write to a beat. It's different to any other form of music, or it just kind of it almost just came naturally, like compared to other like styles or forms of expression. And it was just cool. Like, I remember watching Beat Street and like a lot of the like hip hop dance movies of the 80s. I think, what was that one? There was this movie and Breakin'. Yeah, that was crazy. Like, I just remember watching that when I was 11 and kind of like wanting to be back there, but not really caring either. I was like, oh, I'm gonna try this right now. Like, I'm gonna go down to the garage and start breaking.
And did you?
Yeah,
Did you ever try wrestling?
I did.
How did that go? You're not a large person.
They would just pick me up and like throw me down, and like I learned a lot of holds, like the technical way to lock up and, you know, do like an arm. So I don't even remember the names, but I could probably do like a basic sequence.
Okay, we might try that at the end of the interview. I think I would win.
Yeah, maybe. Well, we'll see.
No offense.
It's okay.
Serious.
And I understand.
I don't want to get too serious on it because this is the afternoon. But having gone through a childhood as a young girl, and then identifying as transgender, changing your name, and this is all kind of in the public eye. Radio DJs, for instance, and journalists have had to get used to changing the pronoun. Poor them, right? Let's talk about pronouns. I mean, and labels in general. How has it been altering your own sense of self in the public sphere?
Right, yeah, it's been interesting because like when I first started to release music and when it sort of like when the first buzz began to generate or whatever, I was known as a female or a female identifying person with pronouns like she and her, which was cool. But then I started to discover, or like I got to the point where I realized this massive fact about myself, and I couldn't really just not bring it up. Or I mean, I don't know, like it's the transition is always an interesting process because it takes time, and you start with your family and your friends and you kind of have a safe zone, and you ask people, and then you kind of just makes you realize like what feels right. Like you feel happy all of a sudden because of something so simple. And then with things being sort of public musically, it was kind of like this like at first it felt kind of overwhelming. I was like, oh no, like this is like, how can I ask someone to refer to me a different way? But like when I haven't physically transitioned, or there were all these little things that freaked me out at first, but I mean, it's been great. Like things have gone swell.
It can't have been easy though. I can't imagine going through that myself. I admire you. Yeah.
Thank you.
But you are now Maynard Larkin.
Yeah.
Which is very clever, by the way.
Thank you.
It's an anagram or an acronym? I can never remember the one.
Anagram.
An anagram of Miranda. It's amazing. And how do you feel about the transgender label?
I mean, I guess like as long as it's cool. Like I love to. I hope that I can represent the community and maybe someone who's like 10 years old or something and they're about to go puberty trans because
Nasty business.
yeah, maybe they'll see me and it can like help or yeah, I don't know. I think when information is presented in the right way and it's not to sensationalize anything, but it's more just about what is that's cool.
What is life? It's a big
What
question.
is life?
Your music, let's talk about that a little bit. I guess there's a lot of personal experiences in there, like with most music. There's also a lot of pop culture references. Your obsession with pop culture is delightful. I love it. And in particular, American pop culture, sitcoms, wrestling, cereals, candy. Has that always been a part of your life?
Yes. Yes.
And I guess it kind of seeps through every part of you, from your music to your, the way you dress and even your accent, some might say.
Yeah. A lot of people have said that. I think it's more accepted now, the way I speak. Growing up, it was like, hey, you sound funny. What's that? What's going on? Are you relaxing your vowels?
But that's a natural outcome of having watched too much television, isn't it?
I think it is. I think if you just sit there for 6 hours in front of the TV, you're listening to Kelso and Jackie, and you're figuring out what they're doing, like why are they like the way they are. You don't. It's like you're so into it that you forget. You don't know what's gonna happen to your voice, but it's gonna happen. Also, I had a friend from. I like to blame my friend because she is from Canada, and then I had a lot of Filipino friends, and I like to blame them also.
You've actually, this was a bit touch and go for a while because Maynard is suffering from a virus, glandular fever, if you don't mind me telling people, which is traditionally known as the kissing disease.
Yeah, which is
Did you know that?
I did know that. It's ridiculous.
Why is it ridiculous?
Because if you're gonna get it, you may as well get it from kissing because it's the kissing disease. And I haven't been kissing a bunch of people,
So you think that maybe you got it from a customer?
I think they probably coughed and my mouth was open. So I was like, they coughed in kind of like an upwards direction, and it made this nice woo into my mouth.
Well, thank you for making it out because I know that you're not feeling the best. I just wanted to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
How's the how does your view of rap music kind of sit with your past kind of experiences of this genre? I guess what I'm asking is, how did you first start listening to rap and why?
Yeah, I think I must have, my first experiences of hearing rap music, it was probably my brother playing, his burnt disc of Exhibit or, Eminem or something. Something typical like that. And then when I finished high school, I started finding, Tyler, the Creator, and people from Odd Future, and then also Des Racist, some kind of underground San Francisco rappers, which were really cool. There was a guy named A1, and he created a mixtape with remix beats from Nickelodeon, and then he would rap about growing up and all of the cool things that I was interested in. So I was just like, whoa, rap is the best. I just want to listen to rap music right now. And yeah, I think that's kind of how I got inspired. Just, yeah, like really alternative, colorful artists. Like dudes who wore t-shirts with like kitty cats on them. I was like, wait, you're a rapper, but you do that? Okay, that's fun.
That's nice. What about the misogynistic content of a lot of rap music, Randa? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, it's a bummer, dude. I mean, I kind of like it when like someone creates a character and the character is misogynistic, and then it's like, oh yes, misogynist exists because there was that character. I don't know what I'm saying. Okay, let's.
But do you think it will always exist, and that's a given? And you know, I mean, is music in itself enough, or do we have to be changing these things?
Yeah, I think it also it almost like mirrors comedy. Like I like to think, like I feel like back in the day, often you would have jokes where, like, you might have a rape joke where the victim is the butt of the joke. But I like to think that nowadays we're like becoming a lot more intellectual and we're thinking with our hearts. And now it's like, well, no, actually, okay, here's a joke, but the rapist is the butt of the joke because it's not okay. So, like, hopefully, yeah, I don't know.
That it's important to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely.
These things.
I think it's so important. Yeah. It's good not to sweep things under the rug. But then it's also, if you're going to talk about it, like, I think everything should be talked about, but, like, in a really, like, smart and heartfelt way. Well, that's just my opinion. I don't know. I like to think that we can progress and create change and discussion through doing that and through art.
I am aware that I'm discussing this content with a rapper who doesn't talk about such things in his music. A lot happier things. And the world of Randa does seem like a dreamland at times. You know, a colourful place, nostalgia from the 80s and 90s. That will ever change?
I don't know. Like, I think things will change to a degree thematically and stuff. My tastes are always changing and my interests and but I always like food, like that's not gonna change. So I don't know. Although, to be honest, like, I've become a little bit neurotic with the gland. I don't know if it might just be the glandular fever. I've been lying down just stressing about little things. Like, why is there sugar in ketchup? Why, like, I mean, I understand, like, I get it, but why is there so much? It creeps me out. And, like, beans, like, if we can just, I mean, this has no relevance to your question.
No, please. Let's talk.
She went somewhere. She went on a drive and she found these baked beans for 70 cents. 70 cents each. And they were kind of like a funny brand that no one's ever heard of. But my dad said they tasted better than the regular beans because the regular beans probably had a whole cup of sugar in them.
Exactly. That is a common thing with food. Let's chuck a bunch of shit in it.
Yeah.
Your parents are typical hilarious parents to a young person, and I mean that with all respect, but they remind me of my parents. White, relatively conservative, middle class. How do they react to your antics, music and otherwise?
They're cool. I don't know. They always focus on, like, funny, like, they're just like, you need to make sure you're asleep. My dad's big thing is sleep. Like, if you're not sleeping enough, right, you're gonna get sick and it's gonna mess you up. Like, you're not gonna be okay. And then also, my mom's big thing was always the jacket. Like, you need to wear a jacket. You go around in a t-shirt. I get a lot of that. It's hot. And then, because I'm like lying down sick for 3 weeks, and it's like, you've been going around in a t-shirt. And I can't go anywhere. I've got to listen. I've got to, like, deal with the facts.
You've got to stay in bed and reap the consequences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they bond over that. I know it. So I feel like a good son. Like, yeah, maybe I did go around in a t-shirt, but you both agree that I'm sick because I went around in a t-shirt, and agreeing is fun.
Your mother Anne gave you her name and as your middle name.
Yeah.
And you've changed it to what?
Anson. So if you Google it, it means Anne's son. So another good move.
That is literally what you are. Well done.
Thanks.
You just released a new music video, which I love, by the way, where you play the role of a lifeguard. A rather creepy but besotted one. And how did you enjoy the acting experience of that? Because you feature highly. Yeah. You should all go watch it, by the way, after this.
It was good. We actually had rehearsals leading up to the video, and I didn't know this till after we shot the real video, but my mom said, I was talking to Jordan and he was a bit worried. He said the acting wasn't so hot, and because I was so bad, and I'd look into the eyes of my co-star, and then I would just laugh, and then I'd make her giggle, and I'm 22, and then she's 16. She's in high school, and she's very mature, and I just didn't. I was like, oh my goodness, this is gonna be terrible. Everyone's gonna turn up, and it's gonna be a disaster because I'm gonna. I don't know, but then when we did the real thing, it was so cold, it was so freezing that it made it really easy to be serious.
It turned out. How many collaborations have you done with that production company now? Thunderlips directors, Candlelit Pictures production.
I think that was the 5th one, and we have one in a can. We've got some film in a can for a new video called Turtles, but we don't know what to do with it because I think we need to find a bunch of money or something.
Yeah, it's expensive making videos. Absolutely. Do you have any plans to release any more material, LP, EP, or otherwise?
I'm kind of midway through recording new work at the moment. I'm not sure what kind of project it will be in terms of, EP or album. But I did shoot another music video. I was supposed to stay in bed, but some Americans came over. They came from America, and they came over to my house, and they met my parents, and then we hung out for a little bit, and then they took me into town. No, actually, I took them to a swampy place because they had these big army surplus, they had these camouflage suits, and then they were like, where do you want to go now? And I was like, we should get fries. And they bought me fries. I was like, that's so kind. I would have got fries anyway.
Food is absolutely the way to your heart, isn't it?
Yes.
And Americans, so it would seem.
If people want to trick, you have meetings. We're all in the world, and we have meetings sometimes, and they're kind of funny, and they're not going well. But if someone gave me a sandwich, then, you could just cancel the whole,
Talking part.
Yeah, and then I'd just be like, cool, okay.
Okay, we can do that. We can make you a sandwich.
I made nachos today.
Okay, good. Glad.
I just wanted to say that.
Thank you, Maynard Larkin, for joining us this afternoon. It's been such a pleasure to have you at the first IRL at Golden Dawn.
Thanks, pal.
And go enjoy the rest of your light beer. Take it easy. Rest up. I hear 9 o'clock bedtimes are important for Glange, so.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Thanks so much, guys. Okay, there'll be a brief break, about 5 minutes. Do spend money over the bar, and do write questions for the panel. The box with the question marks on it is just over there. I'll be asking Ali Ikram, what the hell happened, man? Very soon.
So I swivel my hips.
close up, you and me, nobody's leaving. Got me affected, spun me 180 degrees, it's so electric. Slow down and dance with me, yeah, slow. Skip a beat and move in my body, yeah, slow. Come on and dance with me, yeah, slow. Skip a beat and move in my body, yeah, slow. Don't wanna rush it, let the rhythm pull you in. This is so touchy. You know what I'm saying, and I haven't said a thing. Keep the record playing. Slow down and dance with me, yeah, slow. Skip a beat and move in my body, yeah, slow. Come on and dance with me, yeah, slow. Skip a beat and move in my body, yeah, slow. Oh, read my body language. Take it down, down, slow down and dance with me, yeah, slow. Skip a beat and move in my body.
We're going to start in about 2 minutes, so resume your seats, please. It's got a nice vibe, you're nice people. Cheers.
Yeah, slow. Skip a beat and move in my body, yeah, slow. Skip a beat and move in my body. Skip a beat and move in my body. Skip a beat and move with my body.
Who sees me when I call my friend? And I cross the street, bring a beeline for that phone. Oh, I want to make it happen. Oh, to find a friend. Someone tried to call me up, but I don't even have a phone. She could ask to me what's up, but I'm waiting for you to land. When someone across the street who sees me waiting for my friend, she could ask to me what's up. I'm waiting for your phone to ring. Someone tried to call me up, but I don't even have a phone.
Oh, back up, DJ. Hugh's reframing. Whatever that means.
I'm a person on my own. When I cross the street, make a beeline for that phone.
Are you reframed, Hugh? Hugh's reframed. Right, welcome back to IRL at Golden Dawn in association with Orcon. The man next to me hardly needs any introduction because he's Ali Ikram. You all know him as the guy that used to be on TV3. Ali, after asking you along, I realised when I was writing a question line that I did not know a lot about you beyond guy who was on TV3 for a long time. What is your story?
I'm astounded by that, Russell, because
I know, I'm
I was
actually
on,
very sorry.
I was on television for 16 years in a very small country. I was on TVNZ for 7, and I was on at TV3 for about 8. And but at the same time, there's also a lot of anonymity attached to being in this blaze of glory that is New Zealand television. But nobody ever learnt my name. In all those 16 years, nobody learnt my name.
Have we somehow gotten your name wrong?
No, you've
Is
got
that what you're saying?
you've got my name right, but it's because there's a vowel on the end and a vowel at the beginning that even I have a tendency to run it together. So even in the twilight of my career, truck drivers were yelling out of their cabs, "Love your work, Alia."
Ali Ikram. Right.
Alia. I once got a letter from the Deaf Foundation for Elliot Crumb. Yeah, Elliot, the boy's name, and Crumb with an E on the end of it. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, it sounded like a Dickens character.
But
Elliot Crumb.
you're wriggling away from telling your story. Where did you go to school?
I went to school in Christchurch.
Me too.
Oh yeah, well, did you? I was
I went
private.
to school with John Key.
Oh, right, at Burnside.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. No one picked him as a future Prime Minister, put it that way. No one remembered him.
No, but he wanted to be Prime Minister from the age of 10.
Yeah, so I gather now.
Yes, and I wanted, when I was 10, I wanted to be the ultimate warrior. The fact that he achieved what he wanted to do and I didn't is just a commendation to all of us.
Well, do you feel a failure?
That I'd never press slammed a man in the ring at SummerSlam. I have moments at 4 o'clock in the morning where I wonder what that might have felt like.
We actually went to some lengths to only pick guests who like wrestling.
No, that was great. That was good to hear a little bit about wrestling. Yeah, I think there's always something that people Google when they're at their most bored, and mine is going to the Wikipedia pages of wrestlers to find out whether they're still alive. And tragically, many of them are no longer with us.
No, that's because they took steroids.
Oh, I've got a theory on this. I mean, I think that there's also, there's a tie-in with the fact that you are in the spotlight and you're effectively famous and your life is a big deal, but it's not based on. It's based on your ability to get out there night after night in very tight trousers and do one of those really long interviews. You can't wrestle if you can't talk. That's one of those things. I mean, all the great wrestlers are the great talkers. Some of them physically are not really much to look at. I mean, the late Dusty Rhodes, Rowdy Roddy Piper, all of these great stars, none of them made their names from their athleticism. They were just simply amazing talkers.
But dragging you back to the point, I get the feeling that you're avoiding talking about exactly where you went to school because perhaps you went to some Ponzi private school in Christchurch.
Oh, I was privately educated.
Ah.
So private, I told absolutely no one. No, I went to St Andrews College, which is a independent school, and they had a pipe band. In fact, I was drum major of the pipe band. I was not only drum major of the pipe band, but I was the mace flourishing champion of New Zealand in 1994. Do you know what mace flourishing is? Yes, that's usually the people make that hand, but there's a lot more to it than that. There's a lot of courage involved, and you have to wear a very fancy hat. So this really doesn't cut it. Can I get your question?
Was it ever? Oh, thank you.
There you go.
Thank you for that. Was it ever an issue at a Catholic school?
It was a Presbyterian school.
Presbyterian school, sorry. Yes. Yeah, no, St Bede's was the Catholic one, wasn't it? Christchurch is divided along those lines. Was it ever an issue at a Presbyterian school having a strange foreign name like Ali Ikram?
Well, the thing about growing up in Christchurch in the 1970s was there were precious few Pakistanis there. So my family and I were our own ethnic group. And one of us was English. My mother was English, so only my father was full-blooded Pakistani. So it was something of life was something of a performance art piece. You know, what did Pakistanis do? Well, essentially what the Ikrams were up to. You know, so you know. You can make all kinds of generalizations based on that, you know.
Had it been 2015, it would have actually been a reality show prop.
It would have been. Maybe I would be working. No, I mean, so, you know, my father was not by many estimations a normal man. He wore a monocle. Did your father wear a monocle?
No, he did not.
No. He wore a monocle. He drove a yellow Rolls Royce. He played cricket a lot. You know, he gave after dinner speeches at rugby clubs, and so, you know, he was a maverick. He was a maverick, and you know, it would be very difficult to put him in a box and say he was one thing or another. He was a flow of energy.
Was it cool having a maverick dad? Because I think a lot of us when we were young just want dads to not be mavericks and eccentric, and you know, was that difficult ever?
Oh, we had the 14-year-old, 13-year-old phase of walking 6 steps behind your parents in City Mall because, you know, when you're a 14-year-old, you are so incredibly cool. You are so cool that being seen within a certain diameter of your parents is just not on. So we had that phase, but yes, I mean, just very admirable, I think. I mean, we hear a lot about immigration and how tough it is, and he just barged into the city and with his monocle and his Rolls Royce and his amazing ties and beautiful suits, and no one was going to tell him that life should be any different, and it was a beautiful thing.
Did you always want to be a journalist? Because I know I always wanted to be a journalist, even when I didn't really know what being a journalist was.
Journalism found me in a careers guidance session that I had in 7th form at St Andrews College. And the teacher who took it was Graham Ferry. He also did PE, so he was inexplicably also wearing a green tracksuit at the time that he was counselling me on the future direction of my life. And perhaps because my father was a cardiologist, he put in front of me a blue piece of paper with circles on it. These were all the jobs that you would do if you were good at science. So there was dentists, and there was pharmacists, and there was doctors, and that sort of thing. And I looked at all of the jobs, and none of them made any sense to me. And he said, "Well, what are you good at?" I said, I like writing. I like words. I like talking." And he said, "Okay, well, I've got another piece of paper for you." And he brought me the pink piece of paper. The pink piece of paper for the people who are good with the arts. And I found journalism down in the bottom right-hand corner. And I thought, good, I can delay this decision. I don't have to work out what I'm going to do. I can just write and talk about what everything everyone else is doing. And it's got me through to this point.
What did you make of journalism once you actually got involved in it? Because I spent many years as a young man thinking that journalism somehow equated to sitting around hotel pools in foreign climes, filing stories, and it was very glamorous, and it wasn't.
Oh, I don't know. I think I'm awfully pleased with very little, and so I had so many great experiences in my career. I met so many people who I just wanted to meet anyway. I interviewed Russell Brand, who I thought was brilliant, just the most brilliant talker of spoken English I've ever had the privilege to listen to. I interviewed Morrissey, you know, someone who maybe his music was designed for Pakistani lads in Christchurch whose fathers wore monocles, but I found it a damp towel to the forehead and during my teenage years, and so I got to meet him and peer into his mysterious part of the world, and so, you know, I mean, I think for a lot of my journalistic career, I wondered why they were paying me to do it. I mean, I would have quite happily paid them.
I interviewed pop stars quite extensively when I was younger because I happened to get a job at Rip It Up, and one thing that brought across to me is that not everyone's the same, and there are people who have star power and charisma. Have you observed that in people you've interviewed?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Morrissey was a good example. He arrived at Q Theatre, which is one of the major theatres in on Queen Street, and he had no idea where he was. He had absolutely. What is this place? It's a nightclub? It's like, no, it's in fact one of our main theatres that you've been taking up for the last week, and you've got no clue what it is. And he had giant chests of clothes all over there, and a tiny man who came to show him the shirt that he might wear for the interview to get the royal seal of approval. And his chaise lounge had to be, positioned in perfectly the right time, and and that sort of thing. And I think I asked him some of the questions that you ask someone who's in their 50s and still making music, and his whole thing was, you just have to hold yourself right. It doesn't matter what your age is. So the great performers know how to project themselves. And sure enough, I went to see him on the Saturday night at Vector Arena, and everything about that was true. His performance, his voice was perfectly the same. I had someone I know confirm that he'd seen the Smiths' last gig in the UK and said it was on a similar standard. Not everyone has to be Mick Jagger shaking themselves about like a rubber chicken. And yes, it was that idea that you must hold the performance within yourself and project it at the right time, and when the time is right, leave the stage. He said to me at the end of the interview, he said, "Are you coming along to the show?" I said, "Yes, I am, Morrissey, yes." He said, "Haven't you got anything else to do?"
That sounds like talking to someone who is permanently in character.
No, I said, have you had fun in Auckland? He said, "Whatever fun is."
He did not. Did he really say
yes,
that?
Yes, he did. Yes.
Oh,
yes,
my
he did.
goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All these experiences were good.
But I presume that happened not on camera.
No. All interviews improve once the camera is turned off. There's a man who used to work for 60 Minutes called Slasher Davies. And Slasher Davies comes around and teaches young journalists how to interview. And one of the pieces of advice he gave a friend of mine about doing any form of entertainment interview is always pretend for the first 5 minutes of the interview slot that your camera is broken, but be secretly recording, because that's when all the good stuff happens. And immediately after you say, "We're not rolling anymore," yeah, that is just one of the laws of nature, is that 90% of interviews improve when the camera stops rolling and everyone relaxes.
There's actually a version of that I had to discover for myself in print interviewing, where you make some pantomime of turning the recorder off, and then suddenly you think of another question and you turn it back on, and all of a sudden you're getting the interview you wanted all along because the person has relaxed.
It's a duplicitous craft, this one that we exercise. Yes. Yeah. Everything you heard about journalists is true.
Yeah, we lie to you. We really only want you for the things that make us look good, but on the other hand, though, journalism is a really tough trade at the moment. The digital revolution has not been kind to us. It's particularly tough as a freelancer, which brings me to the question, what the hell were you thinking?
Yes, freelancing. Freelancing sounds freeing, doesn't it? It sounds like you're almost like a knight. You're chivalrous.
The lance.
You go across the landscape and you find a cause worth pursuing and you throw your energies into it and that sort of thing. And it's not like that at all. It just proceeds entirely on the basis that if you do not turn up, you do not get paid. It's like being a clown at a birthday. That is the same contract, and the work exchange happens thusly. You do not turn up, you don't get paid. I experienced that last week, where I had a whole lot of work on and an enormous flu. But yes,
no sick pay, no holiday pay.
No, so not free. But then again, you say, what were you thinking, and maybe the answer is I wasn't thinking terribly much at all, because things earlier this year, when Campbell Live came to an end, things happened very quickly, and you had to make decisions based on the information that you had in front of you at that point in time.
So leaving TV3 when Campbell Live came to an end wasn't something that you'd thought long and hard about. It was the decision that occurred to you.
Oh, when we were placed under review on April the 10th, 2015. I did give it some thought. What happens if this huge outpouring of public affection and the ratings that were so sorely needed, if those aren't enough to sway the people who are reviewing us, what will you do? And I thought, well, I'll have to make a decision then and there, and I felt that it was the right thing to leave, based on sheer lack of information of what the alternative program was going to be. I didn't know who the presenters were going to be. I didn't know who the producers were going to be. It was a fairly straight question: do you want a job, and do you want a job with us? And with absolutely no acrimony at all, I kissed them all firmly goodbye and had 8 amazing TV3, which I've just talked about, and yes, kind of sallied forth into an uncertain future.
I guess the thing about that is that TV3, and especially the news department, was a place that people stayed even when they had other options, even when there was more money. Is that still the case?
Well, I think this question is best turned around, and that's always annoying when someone does that, but I think that when people consider what TV3 has been, they'll be more surprised that it ever happened on commercial television than they will that it ended. And to understand how TV3 became what it is, you have to go back to the very beginning and the level of independence that everyone was given in the news operation. It was a standalone unit of a TV station. It was ring-fenced off. It had a very strong and commanding news boss who had the ear of management. And so, and we were left to our own devices. We got on with it. And people were at TV3 in service to this idea of independence. But it was also a very broad idea. You could go to TV3 and you could make the hardest journalism the very early 60 Minutes stories, with those massive rolling door stops that nobody had ever seen done in New Zealand television ever, and they were like Mortal Kombat on television. So that's one side of it. You had the strain of it that John Campbell was practicing, which was very informed public service journalism could happen on TV3. And then I'm glad David Farrier is here. The kind of like end at which David
didn't bring Keith though, did he?
No, he does. Keith is on a day off. He gets sick pay. but they're kind of the slightly more gonzo side of things as well, which came from the old Nightline days. You could find a home in there as well. And so it was just this huge, broad church of fascinating characters. One of the sad things about not working regularly in television anymore is that you don't come across these people on a daily basis, because I'm really fond of all the people who work in New Zealand television, even the ones I don't particularly like.
That's nice of you. But this is an interesting thing, because there are certain people we could name who people assume. Well, let's say Paul Henry. People assume Paul Henry is a workplace bully because he acts the goat on television. He's actually quite nice in person and quite charming, isn't he?
Yeah. Is that your experience?
Yes, actually.
Right. Well,
he's not a weirdo like Hosking, put it that way.
Did that turn you around? Do you think that turn you around?
Well, I did. You're interviewing me now. I did a whole season of Breakfast, going on and being interviewed as the occasional commentator, and he was delightful. And I've ever since felt the need to explain to people that this guy you assume must be a workplace bully because of his on-screen persona, in fact, is not, and he's very charming.
Oh, are you talking about Hosking or Henry?
No, Henry. I was interviewed
Right.
for a couple of seasons by Hosking on Breakfast as well. So, yeah, I've been interviewed by the best of them.
No, I know,
Yeah.
I know. You're a man of very high caliber.
Do you think what's happened at TV3 is just the way things are going in the media because the squeeze is going on, or is there something peculiar there?
I think there's two major New Zealand media companies which are on the verge of either selling or floating, and the behaviour of companies when they're about to list is different from what it might be normally. In the CanWest days, TV3 played an exceedingly long game, and that's where all of the really cool things, I think, developed. This evening of programming which started at 5 o'clock with The Simpsons, and then you had Home and Away, you had 3 News, Campbell Live, and then you had shows that were took a bit of a punt. Brotown, Outrageous Fortune, programs that people years later will identify with and say, I'm a TV3 person. I'm a TV3 person because I think that programming said something about this country that you won't find overseas. And so there's this great period where they're playing the long game, and that's based on the fact that CanWest as a company believes that running a profitable number 3 is far better than running a losing number 1 in terms of money. And so you get to develop during that time, and some really interesting things happen. So what we have now, NZME and MediaWorks on the verge of listing, and they have to go out to the market and say, you're not buying a dinosaur. You're not buying a sunset company. You're buying a company that has a series of different assets which are all going to be leveraged against each other. And we're going to use the fact that we own a lot of radio and television, or in the case of NZME, newspapers and radio. We're going to use that to create a dominant market position. So that's a lot different from that news or operation within a TV station. Now it's that idea that one of the things that I heard late in my time at MediaWorks was wanting to offer the customer a frictionless experience. This is the ambition. We're going to offer the customer a frictionless experience, and they're going to be happy. Right. Yeah. And that's just that.
Capitalism is lubricant.
Well, no, but
right?
it was that. It's that idea that. It's just that idea that you buy an ad with us, you can buy it online, you can buy radio, you can do your whole account here, and operating within this company is going to be amazing for you, and this is why you need to come to MediaWorks. So it's like the frictionless experience. It's that idea that that there aren't independent units, that you are maximising your assets, which in theory is a good thing.
I'm interested that your analysis of this is economic, and I agree. Whereas there are people who would have looked at your wife, Dita DeBoni, and others losing their columns in the Herald as evidence of some malign political plot. It's the numbers, isn't it? It's money.
Well, it is the numbers, but sometimes things happen and you wonder. So, yes, in the case of my wife, Dita DeBoni, who writes or wrote a fairly robust column from the left of the political spectrum in the Herald up until very recently. And yes, the argument was used that those columns in the front section of the paper are going to go to people who also are on the radio, and so we're promoting our people within the organisation, and the fact that you consistently critique the government is not a factor in your column disappearing. I mean, so I think the broad argument is right that you're putting there, but there will be people like Toby Manhire, and there will be also writers like Deborah Hill-Cohn who don't have a presence on radio, who will keep their columns. So it's not consistently applied. I mean, for instance, I have a column in the Herald. I have a column in the Herald, somewhere in the back. But you know, I don't have a job on radio either. So
Why don't you write more? Because you write really well.
Oh, this is the way I make my money now. This is everything. This is everything.
Bummer,
you know?
because the word rate's been the same since the late 80s.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's an idea. What is it?
You really
What
picked the
is
wrong
it?
trade.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and at the wrong time as well. You know, but no, I really enjoy writing, and I find that because of all the things that have happened this year, the audience is more receptive than they used to be. The audience loves failure. They love it. They love it. They love it more than when you're a chap on television with a jaunty hat and a beautiful moustache. They like the idea that you're now sitting on a trampoline in your backyard while everyone goes to work and wondering where it all went wrong, as you put.
That's really why I asked you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and so that, but you become your words, and you become your word, and you're your main character, and you end up. It's very strange, because I was visiting a school and I read some of my recent work, and I had never even thought about performing it in public. I'd never even contemplated that, and then you're going, oh no, this is the bit where I wrote about, where I wrote the note of resignation that I strike in the world, that chime. I think everyone's got a chord they strike in the world, and it resounds through them. This is very deep.
The big sigh.
Yeah. Well, in my case, it's resignation.
Right.
And
you were, so you were resigned to your resignation?
Well, no. That's sort of like just generally, you know, before, you know, independent of employment. So, and then you're reading it and you're performing it and you're going, this is actually my life. This is my life, and these are the words that I wrote, and they all mean absolutely 100%, every single one of them. And then it's a strange relationship, but I think the audience appreciates it. You know, it's honest.
We need to wrap now, but I have one final question. What makes you optimistic about the media or the world in general?
I'm optimistic because I see in the world things that I relate to. I felt that there was a special spirit around Campbell Live, especially in that last month. I felt people were saying to us very clearly that they want to be part of a community, that they do feel connected to the person next to them. They don't like being atomized. They want to have something where they can change the world for the better. And we got to do a little bit of that on the program, a little bit, and it felt really good. The show's gone, but I don't feel that spirit is gone. You know, you see it everywhere. You see it online when the double the quota campaign, you know. And so it's really, those are the things that make me feel less pessimistic. And also the great young people that come into the industry every day. And one of the earlier this year sat on the sidelines and carped said, well, it's never going to when I was doing it, that kind of thing, because it's very destructive. Because young people who come in the industry have the absolute right to have the same dream for yours when you arrived in the building. And the last thing I'd ever wanted to do would be dissuade people from that. Because the world is yours. The world is yours. If you believe it.
That was lovely. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ali Ikram. Cheers. We'll take another short short break now, and then be back with an artist who actually also has been a journalist as well, and still dabbles. Unfortunately, he gave that up for the only profession that has fared with the digital revolution worse than journalism. Nice work, man. That, of course, is Anthony Tonnon, who I think is, apart from writing the best songs about local government that have ever been written in New Zealand, has made a marvellous album called Successor. If you're inspired by his performance, or even if you just want to feel sorry for him or something, his merch is over there, looking like Dear Leader on the cover of Successor. He will, after he plays, race over to the merch stand at the bar there and sell you what you need to get. And also, right next to the merch is the question box for the panel, and we need your questions. Thank you very much. See you in 5.
a rock face, waiting for the side. Ricochet, ricochet. The world is on the corner, waiting for jobs. Ricochet, ricochet. Turn the holy nature, so they face the wall. Launch your flowers, launch your guns. These are the prisons, these are the crimes.
I'm already disheartened with dumpster diving. I know we've hardly started, but I can't avoid feeling I'm out of season with your drive to save watermelons from going to waste. And I knew you'd be the woman who could carry me on her back towards some noble goal I lack. But you're cutting such a steep, steep road. Now we save the oceans one email at a time. We pick the locks on supermarket dumpsters, and you fight old friends in the kitchen over rotting conviction. You'd be better with someone to match your tattoos. Someone whose parents couldn't inject that piety deep under the skin. My only guess is I mean something bigger to you. And if I can be dragged along, maybe the world can too. But the world will never be as taken with you. And we didn't find vegetables in any of them. But you know that wasn't what we were waiting for. You needed the security guard to show up, to shout a sermon from the dumpster. You just needed a stomach to punch. And it couldn't be me. No. Had to be someone with some scrap of authority. You're at your best when you're angry. Just tonight I wish you'd turn it on me. I'm going to try some things this afternoon that are very difficult. And he made even more difficult in this environment of ambivalent weather. So I want you to do something that I do to help give me confidence and security. It's called a power pose. I want you to put your fists up by your head like this. Okay, now, straighten your back. And on the count of 3, I want you to raise those fists into the air. 1, 2, 3. As if you've just won a race. Okay, bring them back down there. Okay, let's do it one more time. I want you to, this time, to chant with me. After 3, and put our hands in the air and say, "It's a sunny day. I am having a frictionless experience." 1, 2, 3. It's a sunny day. I am having a frictionless experience. They're electrifying train lines, putting public art on the bridges. It's just the sort of thing you've been riding in for. John giggles on his saucer. He's visiting from Australia. He's come home for a cup of tea and to borrow your car. Son, watch your speed on the main street. They should have kept in the crossings. They've turned walkers into targets out there. Still, it seems better now. Out doing the rounds for the shopping. Small grocers are appearing again, selling flowers outside. You're attracting smiles from the cafe. You check your hair in the window glass, and like John says, you really do look better now you're all the way grey. Always hoped to be a wise old man. When you ran for council, they called you a frustrated librarian. So what they could do with their money from developers, their people at the papers, they turn your own family against you. Still you didn't hold it against the kids when they begged to move away. 'Cause you were born before the motorway system, and you would wait for a new day as long as it would take. As long as it would take. And maybe it's today. Maybe it's today. You stare at the rain-cleaned other side of the street, and you spring sunlight. Maybe it's today. Maybe it's today. As the cars bank up at the railway lines, maybe it's today. As you step out with groceries on your shoulder, maybe it's today. Snigger at the new sculpture, and a car speeds around the corner. You try to make eye contact with the driver in time. Maybe it's today. Maybe it's sunny day. I am having a frictionless experience. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. It's a sunny day. I am having a frictionless experience. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Anthony Tonnon. Thank you for having me. I'm still in awe of how you pulled it all off. And driving through the dry lands, seeing irrigators installed, I think about the coup. You turned the rules on themselves. You engineered that miracle to free the water underground. They said you'd never take the council down, but you just found your way around. Called it a national crisis. You were in bed with the press. You understood from experience how to make it faster, hard to digest, and you left them dumbfounded, unemployable. Chose their replacement yourself. All that science from the cities couldn't keep you from the water underground. Sing this with me. It goes like this. Water underground. Water underground. Water underground. Water underground. Water underground. Water underground. That's good. But we need to give it dynamic. I'm going to tell you how we're going to do that. I want you to imagine for the next 3 minutes, which is the time you'll be singing that over and over again, no matter what I do, that the room that we are in is filling with water from the drains. At first it's just a few puddles here and there, but then you start to feel your socks getting wet. And each time you sing the words water underground, I want you to imagine that the water level rises by 3 fingers. So we're going to start off reasonably calm, and we're going to get frantic by the end of things. Can we do that? All right, let's try it. none of the farmers who owed you. They let you fight in that pack alone. But with elections still on hold, with the cattle turning up with a truckload, you can hear the drills working now on that water underground. The water underground. The water underground. It's getting to your shoulders. Water underground, now your neck. Water underground, your chin. Water underground. I'm going to give you a choice. I'm going to play one more song. Would you like to hear a song about an alien abduction or a timeless love ballad?
Timeless alien love story.
Okay, I'm going to go with alien abduction. Okay, my name is Anthony Tonnon. I have merchandise for sale. I usually give a very short elevator pitch. There are vinyl records there are CDs. My most recent CD, the one before that, there are Canapé King Records notebooks, and there are t-shirts with my face on them. It's been a pleasure to be here. I was really looking forward to seeing all the speakers today, and I'm very happy to be here. Unfortunately, I need to run straight after our panel to go to another show tonight, so if you would like to see me play again, I'll be playing in similar fashion at Going Global, Bar 101 on Elliott Street at 7:30 precisely. This is a song about a supernatural event which happened in Dunedin, where I am from, and in fitting style, it has a supernatural backing band. On her credit card, he bought the cheapest running shoes from Kmart and stripped to his underwear at the bottom of Mount Cargill in the park where Leaf Valley started, and shit, he could run now, jumping rivers and overgrown paths to the end of the tree line where the tussock started. The city became silent as if behind soundproof glass. He'd tell her this is where aliens left him, and half ashamed at his story, half beginning to believe it. This was how it usually started. Oh, he felt the blood reach his hands as the sun rose straight out of the ocean. Sometimes your life is an overwhelming vision, more compelling than any movie. Sometimes there's music behind it, louder than a dam breaking, even if most of the time it doesn't seem written right. You wonder why you have nothing to show for your 20s, why you never lived overseas, or why you spend more time drafting submissions than writing scenes, why you can run Mount Cargill but you can't break out of the sleep. When he woke up, they'd taken his clothes. They'd moved him to a city where the sun rose from the south. At first he thought it was Sydney. They gave him an apartment and a towel, money to live on, and the things he remembered became art they could sell all over 4 stars with lovers. All became one act played. And the memories of school led to breakthroughs in science. From advice he'd been given, they built a new religion. Sometimes your life isn't overwhelming vision, more compelling than any movie. Sometimes there's music behind that. Damn. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2015 Silver Scrolls finalist Anthony Tonnon. Another round, please. Right, we'll have another short break while we move some furniture back, and then we have the panel. We'll shorten the panel a little bit, partly so Tonno can get to his sound check, and partly because it's actually really fucking cold. Hugh, could I have camera number 1 here, please? All you people watching this on the stream, warm inside your renovated villas, being warmed by your $1 million equity. People have actually come out here and they're under blankets, so perhaps in the comfort of your lounge or your office or your bedroom, could you just personally give a little round of applause for all the people who are sitting there facing the southerly? We'll be back very soon. Cheers.
som ingen kysst. Sen en gryning för länge sen. Ingen vet när det händer igen. Nu går hon genom stan, stannar så. Och hon köper biljett, en blå. Till det landet där drömmar väcks. Ljuset på biografen släcks. Men den filmen är seg och trist. Som den var när hon såg den sist. Hon kan varje scen utan till. Se hjältinnan som kysser sin hjälte. Tårarna som rinner stelnar i en stum sista bild. En som fruktansvärd film. Hon går genom staden, tittar upp mot rymden. Raden utav bleka stjärnors ljus. Som står högt över mörka hus. Finns det liv på Mars? Och från ett glömskans kaleidoskop, helt utan saknad och ängslig gråt, går hon sakta så sakta hem till sin vardag 9-5. Som en skepnad bland många fler. Men blir det aldrig någonting mer? Någonting riktigt rart och snällt. Som i den dröm som gavs ikväll. Men den filmen är seg och trist. Som den var när hon såg den sist. Hon kan varje scen utan till. Se hjältinnan som kysser sin hjälte. Tårarna som rinner stelnar i en stum sista bild. En som fruktansvärd film. Hon går genom staden, tittar upp mot rymden. Raden utav bleka stjärnors ljus. Som står högt över mörka hus. Finns det liv på Mars?
There's a stain on my notebook where your coffee cup was. Oh, there's ash in the pages, now I've got myself lost. I was writing to tell you that my feelings tonight are a stain on my notebook that brings your goodbye. Oh, now she's gone, and I'm back on the beat.
welcome back to the final part of IRL at Golden Dawn in association with Orcon. This is the panel discussion, and I am pleased to say that you have come through with questions. There are people also who may have wandered in. You over the back there, hello, wondering what the hell this is. It's fun. And we're going to have a quick fire half hour answering the questions from our audience, so we won't keep you from your conversation too much. Thank you for joining us. Right. I'm not going to even introduce the panel because I've introduced them all before. What have we got here? What's the first question? Out west, there is a 100-metre long bike path. Why, just why? I wonder these things myself. Is anyone else? So are you a cyclist, Ali?
No.
No.
Why would you have a 100-metre long cycle path?
Sprints. Bike sprints.
Bike sprints.
Is it a ruin? Is it part of a pre-existing, pre-European cycling culture? Because sometimes civilizations actually peak and we are living in the detritus left over. You know, sometimes people don't always consider that.
I think that was called the Waitakere City Council, right?
The ancient regime.
The golden days.
Yeah, no, I must admit, I love cycle paths. I'm a cyclist, but I do get slightly frustrated with very short cycle paths, especially when there's a lot of backslapping about it. It's like, yeah, all right, I realise it costs some money, but it's not actually very exciting if you happen to be a cyclist looking at cycling kilometres and there is a 100-metre long cycle path. So whoever wrote that, I kind of agree.
And when they just paint a line down the footpath, that's always disappointing. You know, just the line.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Walk on the side, cycle on the
Half-assed
side.
attempt.
Just paint a line.
Yeah.
Done.
Okay, next question is Skypath or Skynet? That's a very obscure question. Skynet I don't approve of, Skypath I do. Skypath, of course, is the impending path cycle path over the Harbour Bridge.
You don't like the fence, right? Is that right?
No, I fucking hate the fence. This is and the council. I actually got an email from someone at the council being all offended because I was knocking the new Nelson Street cycleway, which was going to be really exciting because it's on an old motorway off ramp. And it was going to be like riding in the sky, and now they've put 3-metre perspex walls around it, and it's not as exciting.
You know those perspex walls are just going to be covered in
I know, they're going to get tagged.
piss. Really.
Yep.
Like, I give it 2 weeks for
Right.
it to be opaque almost.
Thank you, DJ Leone Hayden, for bringing me back my reading glasses. Okay, I think we've gone as far as we can go on the cycling questions. What have we got next? We have... this is a question from Trip Pony. In 2015, is releasing a sex tape still a valid way of launching my pop career? I'm throwing that to you, Maynard.
I think it's a good way to launch a career in, like, creating jewelry. Or, and that's no offense to people who create jewelry, but I reckon,
Intimate jewelry?
there was
or
because there was a Kim Kardashian Ray J sex tape, right?
Yeah, no, it was really boring. It was
Yeah.
missionary. I didn't watch it. That's what I heard. She's not very adventurous.
See, it just needs to be a boring one because you don't want people to not forget that your career was launched by your sex tape.
Yeah,
So
you
just-
want it to be mundane enough for people to move on to your music. But
Yes.
but Trip Pony lends itself to a sex tape. You know, all sorts of names. Trick Pony, I think. You know, horsing about.
Perhaps the
That
only,
sort of thing,
perhaps
not
the
to get
only
too-
truly disruptive thing we can do in 2015 is to release a crap sex tape. To say I'm bad at it.
But
Ali,
then
I'm
you
looking
also
at you.
want people
No,
to
what
watch
was that
it.
bad? Oh, yeah. No, I think it is. This introduces the interesting and perhaps novel idea that fame is not achieving things, but the act of living down the things that you've done in the past. with sort of throwing more material into the void. Yeah.
How famous does one have to be in order to release a sex tape? Like if you had, say,
You don't want to release it too soon.
if you had like a...
You've got to have some long lead on it.
But can you produce it and, master it and get it ready so that when you, maybe hit, maybe
apply for some
breakfast
funding.
radio or something, before, so that it's just ready to release to the public. Would that be something that you're...
Is it still necessary to pretend that your sex tape was leaked, that someone burgled your home? Does anyone believe that anymore, and is it still necessary?
Believe what? Sorry, Russell?
That your sex tape was leaked and you didn't mean to put it out?
I think it would be a good, quite disruptive angle to just put it out with a media release.
I think if Auckland hip-hop starlet Trip Pony was to release a sex tape, there would be no doubt as to who it had come from.
From the crowd there, the Warriors.
Herself.
Right. Moving on.
You do you, girl. You do you.
My beehive is where is right for them, meaning the bees, but may terrify the neighbours. Should I move it or risk them freaking out?
Risk them freaking out.
Okay. Are we agreed on that? Because I mean,
So it's too close to the neighbours,
Some
is
people
that-
are allergic to bee stings, so.
But
that is-
there's injections for that.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Well, how does the crowd feel? I mean,
Could you put it beside some of the people that are giving venues a lot of trouble for noise problems?
Yeah. Yes.
We're in Grey Lynn, aren't we? Just with all these questions, yes. Beehives.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. No, all our farmers markets are with stuff totally grown in Greyland, honest. Yep. Okay, here a semi-serious question. New Zealand music is flourishing. Should we do more to recognise those behind the artists, the soundies, photographers, and promoters? I'm throwing that to you, Tonnon.
Well, we do one thing. We pay them. Whereas actually, sometimes. No, absolutely. Yeah. Especially the one. Well, I mean, Marcus Winstanley is dope for a sound guy. He is a member of the band. Essentially, he gets the same $20 paycheck per gig, and follows them around and just gets his flights paid for. And I mean, there are a lot of sound people and photographers who are essentially part of the team and part of the band, and it's often what makes a band successful. Is that crew.
Well,
but nobody really cares about those people, do they? I mean,
when you've got 7 members and a lot of electronic stuff, then the band cares.
but people.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't really care.
No.
They just want to look at the pretty person singing.
Well, I
Don't
mean,
they?
Salmonella Dub called Tiki Tane a member of the band, and look what happened there. He left and got more famous. Right, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, 1-4, Anthony. Anthony, I think I can more or less tell, but what is Water Underground about exactly? Anonymous male, 35. Why do you feel the need to say that? Tell us.
Water Underground exactly is about the Minister for the Environment, when he was last Minister for the Environment, and the sacking of Ikan. And the interest I took in the way that he pulled off that brilliantly, masterfully, without getting any backlash for it, and then was taken down in a completely unrelated incident where he was savagely attacked by the media for a very different reason.
We're talking about Nick Smith, of course, and yeah, there's a grim sense of admiration in that song.
Yeah, admiration would be the word. I actually interviewed him for Critic in 2009 around the Copenhagen summit, and it was very clear to me, talking to him and Tim Grosser, that they were going to that summit to sabotage the summit and to stop climate negotiations from coming to any clear agreement. But I had to admire how charming they were and how well they phrased everything to not have any negative effects from that politically.
How they pulled it all off. Next question. Has the internet removed the need to engage meaningfully with ideas we disagree with by filtering content tailored to what we already like? It creates bubbles for us to live within and we only hear what we want. Panel?
Could you repeat the first half of that question, Russell?
Has the internet removed the need to engage meaningfully with ideas we disagree with by filtering content tailored to what we already like? If you like these opinions, you'll like those too.
Yes.
I feel
Yes,
like
it
that
has.
person's stating something rather than asking it.
No, but they have a very valid. They're making a very valid statement. Is that we are. It's becoming something of a mirage that you are surrounding yourselves with opinions that you agree with. Though at the same time, you do come across things that you disagree with almost on a daily basis. So, I mean, and half of the only way to preserve your sanity online often is just to disengage and not say I think you're wrong, because you would spend your entire life doing that. Yeah.
And our next question is actually for you as well, Ali. And this is a really good question. If you could redo a single interview, what would it be?
It was with one with Nick Smith as well. Nick Smith is popping up all the time. Yeah. It was a story done very late in Campbell Live's history about the Resource Management Act, and it was one of those beautiful pieces of television where a guy down in Nelson had a fence that that wasn't visually permeable, and so you could do the theatre of television where you're trying to stare through this fence and you can see through this fence, so why doesn't the council think it's visually permeable, and that kind of thing. And it was one of those things which was just such beautifully crafted television that it allowed him to pop up and say, and this is why we need to reform the RMA. And you think you're actually managing to offset that beam of words that he can eject from his mouth. Nick Smith doesn't so much talk, but he opens his mouth and emits a beam of words. And it's quite a skill, and there's very little you can do about that. And you think, I've sounded a note of caution in there. I've asked a follow-up question, and I think that might have offset the beam of words, but no. The beam is remorseless.
Politicians can be immensely frustrating to interview. Maynard, one for you. Another interesting question. What are the first tabs you open when you browse the internet?
Oh man.
What an excellent question.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm pretty basic, so I guess Facebook. It used to be this website called pwinsider.com, and you would go in there and there'd be a list of all the latest behind the scenes
Sex videos.
No. It was like all the things that happened behind, like, backstage of wrestling, like who was John Cena actually dating, and people would upload photos from like clubs in Ohio of like the wrestlers going out after the matches and hanging out with the divas. It was great.
What made you stop visiting that site?
I stopped watching wrestling.
Oh.
Yeah. Because once you grow up, it's always better back in the day. It's not the same nowadays.
Okay, next question. Is the flag debate a distraction from a discussion we should be having on republicanism and ditching our royals? I'm going to answer that first. I think one of the problems with the so-called flag debate we've been having is that it comes out of no social groundswell. There is no public mood for anything. I'm not at all averse to changing our flag, but it's something that's been ordained, and I think we are paying the penalty for there having been no public conversation. I think the flag consideration panel has chosen the wrong flags that do not even meet their criteria, and I am vainly hopeful that perhaps there can be a groundswell behind the Red Peak flag, which I like and would be better than any of the final four, which I think are a tragedy and make me sad.
Fugly is the word.
Anyone else got a flag opinion?
I agree with you, Russell, and I also think it's interesting that the four top designs, although are very fugly, let's put that to one side, none of them have the Union Jack, and so we're kind of saying immediately that we're letting go of our ties to the Commonwealth without having that discussion at all. It just feels really rushed and, uninformed, and like you say, with no consultation with the public. That, to me, the symbol of the Union Jack is UK, and having none of that is, it's like saying, because it's a symbol of national identity, or it's supposed to be. At the moment, they look like logos for companies like AFCO.
Yeah, and they don't work if you shrink them down, and it's their logos, they're not flags.
It's a sign. Oh no, you please go.
I was going to say, in Oamaru there is a great landmark. It is a Oamaru stone heron with the words New Zealand 1990 on it. And whenever I see that, I think of the cynical rebranding of New Zealand as red, white, and heron-coloured by Labour at the end of their third term. And it's this effort that governments seem to have when they feel on the wane to rebrand the country under their image. And, you know, when you sit on the left, you like that. I remember getting the new passports with all those cool pictures of birds and mountains and things and going, Auntie Helen did this. And I think we're getting to the legacy years of National, and the next 10 years we're really going to visually see what that looks like. We're going to have that ugly money for a long time, and we're going to have a terrible flag, and it's horrible to see.
Yeah, I felt it in the cultural sense as well. I kind of thought, oh God, this is where we're at, isn't it? You know.
And there's that strange phenomenon where the same people who will say we need to change the flag because it does not express us in 2015 are the same people who will go down and thrust their children at Prince Harry when he comes here. So there's an odd disconnect going on where, the same arguments that are advanced about changing the flag are the ones that used to be advanced about republicanism, but you cannot have a conversation about that because presumably the stationary requirements would be even more arduous than in changing the flag. But one of the things I am really interested in is the fact that a silver fern and a koru are the same plant, but just at different stages of development. And so when someone who believes that we're a thrusting, young, confident nation at the bottom of the world that needs to be easily identified and sport is a major focus for you, you see a fern. But I think if you're a slightly more artistic bent, you recognise the country as a work in progress and a hopeful symbol of new growth and unity, but not there yet.
The silver fern is a beautiful plant, but the silver fern is not a beautiful logo or a picture, I don't think. To me, it says sports. Silver fern is a netball team. Personally, New Zealand seems to be really into sports. Like, I think that's a thing. Growing up, I didn't play sports at all, and so I feel quite excluded from that. Like, maybe that's my fault. But silver ferns, and then the All Blacks also have a silver fern in their logo, so it just screams sports.
But
That's
it's also
my
a complete
opinion.
jack-up, though, isn't it? It's a complete jack-up. So you've got how many options fern-wise? 3 ferns, 1 koru, and this is STV, so it's single transferable vote. So, if Hitmo flag isn't your top number 1, you're getting a fern.
Yeah.
So the complete jack-up nature of it is...
There is essentially no way under the STV voting system that's been ordained that a fern cannot win.
I'm not clear on how these 4 options got chosen, because there is a post going around Facebook at the moment with alternative flags, like We Need Better Flag Choices, John Key, and a lot of them are really beautiful in my opinion and really simplistic as a flag should be.
I'm furious.
With only a couple of components rather than a hideous fern going through that looks like a a fish skeleton, as a couple of people have pointed out, with the two, main parties' colours and symbols in them.
That's the exclusive brethren thing.
But the beauty of this is that we've now just discussed the flag for approximately 5 minutes.
I'm passionate about it. I'm passionate about how much I hate the fern. I hate it. It's an ugly, ugly thing.
Team Red Peak. You got anything there? You got any more for us?
I just like the I think I just admire the double speak that Ali was talking about. That you can, on the one hand, do something that's vaguely Republican and then on the other hand be sort of pushing the Harry and barbecues. And it reminds me of the Lone Star Tavern, which is a very successful franchise in the South Island. And they what they do is they combine Americana with this firm kind of patriotism. So it's people wearing cowboy hats and then silver ferns on black
That's in Auckland
jerseys,
too.
and they just crush them together until it makes sense.
Okay, moving on. I work for MediaWorks. Should they get out now? Holy fuck, no. They're paying you. Do you know what it's like out here? Anyone else?
Read your contract.
Stay where you are for now.
Hang on, there we go.
You'll be right, mate.
Okay, another serious question, very topical. Is it time to up the number of refugees but reduce other migration, given that less labour is needed as a means of production? I think a politician might have written this. A lefty.
Are we being turned into a focus group?
Yeah, possibly, yes. Well, we're cheaper than David Farrar, put it that way.
Not clear on that last point, given that...
Given that we actually need less and less labour as we progress because computers, is it time to up the number of refugees but reduce other migration?
Like as a musician that is often trying to get visas into other countries to do a kind of work where I make extremely little money and but spend in an economy, I have to say I sit pretty close to the libertarian side when it comes to migration. So I'd say let them all in.
Is it implicit in that question that the refugees are going to be put into some form of labour situation, hard labour situation, to offset the... Because my answer to that would be no, if that's the trade-off that's being made.
I think that possibly the kinder way of looking at that question is to acknowledge that refugees often value coming here a lot more than migrants who have obtained entry by other means, and are deeply grateful to be here and often make an extraordinary contribution. I ran some stories yesterday on public address that bear witness to that. So maybe there's something in that. I don't know, it's...
I'd like to quote the old El Paso ad, ¿Por qué no los dos? Why not both? Nobody watches television anymore.
No.
The fact that we haven't increased our refugee quota in decades is appalling. 750 people was nothing. Until we're no longer outnumbered by sheep, I say again, let them all in.
Okay, we're back to the flag. Which 80s film sums up your attitude to the flag debate? With Nil and I don't know why, it's the only one that came to mind. Right, anyone?
I think Maynard was born early 90s. I myself was born late 80s.
An 80s film that sums up the flag debate. The gods must be crazy.
I'm just trying to think of any 80s film right now.
License to Drive.
Okay. This question: is immortality achieved by A, being right with God, B, becoming famous, C, being frozen in a tub of liquid nitrogen? I think Walt Disney did all three, didn't he?
Was he right with God, though? Truly?
In his nitrogen-filled heart, he was.
He was.
The anti-Semitic thing's got to come into that, surely. I don't think God would be all good with that.
No.
Immortality is best achieved by becoming famous, because I don't think God actually confers immortality at all. Perhaps your concept of God gives you some concept of immortality, in that your atoms will be recycled, but I think becoming famous is probably the best way to be immortal.
Do you not think God confers immortality? Do you not think he or she can handle the competition?
I don't believe in a personalised God.
Right. Okay. So you believe in an impersonal, sort of distant, warlike being.
I believe
this
in
is
God.
this is why we came tonight.
I believe in God as Einstein conceived him as being the wondrous principle of the universe. I have no problem with being in awe of the universe, but I don't believe in a person called God.
Do we have to believe in a person called God in order to argue this point, though?
I would worship someone who conferred fame on me.
Right.
Well, someone said you were
Fair
like
call.
David Bowie before, so maybe that's...
No one wants to be cryogenically frozen.
No.
I'm amazed.
Apart from anything else, because it doesn't fucking work. It destroys your cell structure. And the idea that at some point in the future they're going to have this way of bringing you back by putting all your cells back together, it's not going to happen.
It happened on Austin Powers, Russell.
All right, true.
Russell's looked into it.
Right.
Looked into it.
Okay, another one for Ali. Is television news media too obsessed with making money and ratings? In the process, have they neglected their fourth estate responsibilities? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, good. Okay.
What was I saying yes to? They've neglected their fourth estate responsibilities. They were obsessed with making money.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, Tonnon. How about a follow-up song about Morris Williamson? I'm liking it. One song about Nick Smith.
He's not as charismatic.
I don't know why that was funny.
I saw him when I was going for a walk one day, and he smiled at me. But he also came into... I used to live in Pakuranga. Came into the game store that I worked at and demanded that I give his son an R18 game. So... Probably shouldn't have said that in public.
No. I mean, he can be quite personable. I've met him, but yeah. Actually, always has had the buffhead part of his character, so I'm not surprised. But what the fuck was he thinking? I don't know whether anyone actually saw or heard the YouTube clip that Morris Williamson played to a mixed audience. I have no idea how he thought that was appropriate. It was horrible. Okay, Tonnon, quick question. Have you ever thought of doing a Kraftwerk song?
Yes, all the time.
Great.
It'll happen.
Maynard, have you ever thought of doing a Kraftwerk song?
In 2012, but then I didn't.
Okay. Esther, what is your recommendation to create a frictionless sunny afternoon?
It's a good old oil-based lube, right? I retract. Like home baking's always good. Little nap, maybe. Some good tunes.
Right. I find shifting the subwoofer out onto the deck.
Pretending you're not here. You know, just create an alternate reality. It's totally fine.
Cool. Okay. For Lars Randa, who are your biggest musical influences, stroke heroes?
I've got to start with Jeff Hardy, the wrestler. Yeah, he was very graceful back in the day. Eddie Guerrero, super charismatic. Speaking of charisma, Cher. Oh my god.
With or without autotune?
I don't even care, to be honest.
Have you ever tried autotune? I can imagine you could be quite good with it.
Thanks.
Yeah. And that was a compliment. There wasn't like a backhanded, snide thing. It was. I reckon you could do something with it.
Thanks. I've dabbled.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was it sort of like a regretful experience though? Like, oh, try this out. I hate myself.
It was kind of like you're recording at home and then you hope that like whoever's in the house doesn't come in, because I don't know. It's almost like when someone says, "Hey, try do a Texan accent right now," and you can do it, or you believe you can do it, but like, what if you do it and then it's not what you thought it was gonna be?
Yeah, totally.
Cool. Okay.
That happens to me every day.
Okay, we have 2 more questions, but they're about the flag thing, and I think we've dealt with that.
I feel like we're losing them, Russell. We're losing them hard.
Well, no, other people have come in, and it's fair enough. They want to enjoy their Ponsonby beers, and that's lovely. Okay, this has been the very first IRL at Golden Dawn in association with Orcon. Thanks very much to Matthew Crawley and all the Golden Dawn people who are lovely. Thanks very much to Hugh and Rick from BFM. Thanks very much to Orcon, especially Quentin. And thank you most especially to Tonnon, Maynard, Esther and Ali. Please give them a big round of applause.
Thank you.
Cheers, see you next time. Thank you.